Refrigeration is the science of moving heat from low temperature to high temperature. In addition to chilling and freezing applications, refrigeration technology is applied in air conditioning and heat pumps. Now the heat transfer is classified into various mechanisms such as thermal conduction, thermal convection, thermal radiation, and the transfer of energy by phase changes. So in this section, we will deal with certain important questions pertaining to RAC and HMT, that is refrigeration and air conditioning and heat and mass transfer. These questions would be as such: what is refrigeration and what is the unit of refrigeration? What is the LMTD method? What is the advantage of vapor compression refrigeration system? What do you mean by emissive power? Explain mechanical refrigeration and many more. What is refrigeration and what is the unit of refrigeration? The term refrigeration means cooling a space, substance or system to lower and maintain its temperature below the ambient temperature. In other words, refrigeration can be regarded as artificial cooling. Energy in the form of heat is removed from a low temperature reservoir and is transferred to a high temperature reservoir. This is what the process of refrigeration is. The answer to this question would be: refrigeration is the process where heat is transferred from low temperature to high temperature medium with the help of external work. Its unit is ton of refrigeration, that is, the heat absorbed while melting 1 ton of ice at 0 degrees Celsius in 24 hours. Detect absorbers and refrigerant in the system shown here. Here in LIBR, water is the refrigerant and lithium bromine is the absorbent. In NH3H2O, NH3 is the refrigerant and water is the absorber. What is the LMTD method? The LMTD is a logarithmic average of the temperature difference between the hot and cold feeds at each end of the double pipe exchanger. For a given heat exchanger with constant area and heat transfer coefficient, the larger the LMTD, the more heat is transferred. The answer to this question would be: LMTD refers to logarithmic mean temperature difference. It is used to measure the temperature difference in double pipe heat exchanger. The more the LMTD, the more heat will be transferred. Which cycle is used in air refrigeration system? The answer to this question is the Bell-Coleman cycle. What is the advantage of vapor compression refrigeration system? The smaller the size for a given refrigeration effect, higher would be the coefficient of performance or COP. Lower will be the power consumption and less complicated would be the design and operation. Define thermal conductivity. Thermal conductivity can be defined as the rate at which heat is transferred by conduction through a unit cross-section area of a material when a material gradient exits perpendicular to the area? The answer to this question would be thermal conductivity can be explained as the heat conducted in unit time through the unit area of a substance of unit thickness when the difference of temperature between the opposite faces of the object is unity. What is boundary layer thickness? It is the distance from the wall plate across the boundary where the velocity of the flow has become free stream velocity. What do you mean by emissive power? Emittance or emissive power is the total amount of thermal energy emitted per unit area per unit time for all possible wavelengths. Emissivity of a body at a given temperature is the ratio of the total emissive power of a body to the total emissive power of a perfectly black body at that particular temperature. The answer to this question is very simple. It is the amount of radiation emitted per unit time. Will a steel cable become longer if it is heated while under load? Even the heaviest steel cables stretch under load, whether they heat or not. Heating the cable will certainly elongate it. Friction caused by guides or pulley can greatly increase the temperature of a cable under load. Under what condition the thermal boundary layer thickness will be equal to the hydrodynamic boundary layer thickness? The answer here is when Prandtl number is unity. What is undercooling or subcooling of refrigeration system? The term subcooling, which is also known as undercooling, refers to a liquid existing at a temperature below its normal boiling point. Normally, a refrigeration system has a subcooling stage, allowing technicians to be certain that the quality in which the refrigerant reaches the next step of the cycle is the desired one. The answer to this question would be the COP or the coefficient of performance can be improved by undercooling or pre-cooling. It is the process where the liquid refrigerant is allowed to cool below the saturation temperature. Subcooling is done by circulating greater amount of cooling agent, that is water, through the condenser or by using water cooler than natural temperature water, which has higher coefficient of performance, vapor compression or vapor absorption. Vapor compression refrigeration or vapor compression refrigeration system, or in short VCRS, in which the refrigerant undergoes phase changes, is the one of the many refrigeration cycles and is the most widely used method for air conditioning of buildings and automobiles. In the vapor absorption system, the refrigerant used is ammonia, water or lithium bromide. The refrigerant gets condensed in the condenser and it gets evaporated in the evaporator. In the vapor compression system, The compressor sucks the refrigerant from the evaporator and compresses it to the high pressure. The answer to this question would be vapor compression has the higher COP. Generally, the COP of vapor compression ranges from 3 to 4, but the COP or the coefficient of performance of vapor absorption is generally 1. It happens because the coefficient of performance of vapor compression is equals to refrigeration work divided by compressor work. But the coefficient of performance in case of absorption, vapor absorption system would be refrigeration effect divided by generator work plus pump work. Explain mechanical refrigeration. Mechanical refrigeration, often referred to simply as refrigeration, is a process by which heat is removed from a location using a man-made heat exchange system. When the refrigerant enters the low-pressure cooling coil, the refrigerant changes its state into a vapor and absorbs heat. The perfect answer to this question would be mechanical refrigeration is a process by which heat is removed from a specific location using an artificial heat exchange system. The refrigeration system can be cyclic, non-cyclic, magnetic, or thermoelectric, depending on the application for which refrigeration is needed. Which conducts heat faster? Steel, copper, or brass? Copper conducts heat faster than steel or brass. Any material that is good for conducting heat is also good for conducting electricity in most of the cases. Out of the more common metals, copper and aluminum have the highest thermal conductivity, while steel and bronze have the lowest. Why overpressurizing air conditioning system considered bad? Overcharging a refrigeration or air conditioning system can result in an explosion. To avoid serious injury or death, never ever overcharge the system. Always use proper charging techniques. Limit charge amounts to those specified on the system equipment or by the manufacturer's service information. What is heat transfer coefficient? Heat transfer coefficient is the parameter used to measure the heat transfer rate in convective heat transfer. The convective heat transfer rate is given by Q is equal to HA into the change in temperature. Here H is the transfer coefficient or the heat transfer coefficient. Describe vapor compression refrigeration cycle. As the refrigerant circulates through the system, it is alternately compressed and expanded, changing its state from a liquid to a vapor. As the refrigerant changes state, heat is absorbed and expelled by the system, lowering the temperature of the conditioned space. The answer to this question would be, in vapor compression refrigeration cycle, a compressor is used to produce extra work. It compresses the working fluid or the refrigerant and increases the pressure.